Eric Eager, who used to be with Pro Football Focus. He's an analyst into analytics. He's with Sumer Sports now. And he postulates, his theory is that Sam Howell's a backup, that he just takes too many sacks, that he's not really destined to be a starter in the league. So I put it up as the Junkies poll of the day, brought to you by Van Meter Homes, and we wanted to open it up to callers now at 800-636-1067. It's only been up for a minute. 57% believe Sam Howell is a long-term starter. I put it as two categories. You have your long-term starter, not like a Colt McCoy who's a spot starter here or there, like a Kirk Cousins, a starter in the league. Or is he going to be a career backup based on what you've seen so far? 800-636-1067. I don't know enough about whether you can get out of that sack problem. It's definitely an issue.
Definitely an issue. It has to improve. But here's the thing. If he had a great offensive line in front of him and this was an issue, well, you go, well, clearly this is not going to work.
Yeah.
He's dealing with an offensive line of basically a scrap heap. The only one that's not really off the scrap heap is Cosme.
The hard part,
they
though,
had to move him from tackle.
Pick, yeah.
The hard part to judge on that, and we've talked about it, and it's tough to tell. Like, I'm not into the... We rely on these analytics, and we reference the analytics, but none of us really knows. Like, we're not looking at every snap and breaking down the film on the offensive line. But by and large, the offensive line has been, it seems like a middle-of-the-road offensive line according to the analytics.
Right, but you know...
And a lot of the sacks they're putting on Sam Howell.
There's, for sure, he's responsible for it. But if you put it behind a better, could the line be better?
Of course.
Of course. Could they have a better left tackle? Of course. Could they have a better right tackle? The right tackle is borderline atrocious.
Yeah.
Their centers never really played center before.
But that takes time.
It does. It's not going to happen overnight.
The question is, does he have enough time to wait to make sure they put an offensive line together?
I think he's shown enough good things that you do. And so there's got to be two factors. You got to build a better line around him, and he has to get rid of the ball quicker.
Yep.
And then I think you could get into a range where it's acceptable. So he's getting sacked. He's had 7 games. He's been sacked 37 times, okay? That's about 5 a game, right? Unsustainable, you'd say.
I thought it was 34, but whatever it is.
Okay, Russell Wilson.
I think it's 34.
Russell Wilson in the last 21 games, been sacked 74 times. That's almost 4 a game. So all he's got to really do.
But Russell Wilson in those 21 games that you're referencing
hasn't played great.
Is not a quarterback that anybody wants to keep.
So all he's got to do is knock off 1 to 1.5 a game, and then it's more acceptable. Kirk Cousins, in his last 23 games, is basically being sacked 3 times a game.
But those guys got track records.
No, of course they do. But the point is that he's not that far away, really, 1 or 2 a game. And let's say he gets rid of the ball once and the O-line protects better once.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're down to 3 a game. That's manageable.
Yeah,
that's manageable.
I've been impressed.
Plus all the other
I've been
things,
impressed with a lot of what Sam Howell is doing.
And he does the other things well enough that you fight through this.
I've been impressed with a lot, and
in my opinion,
and for the most part, he has limited turnovers. He had 4 interceptions in the Bills game, but in most of the other games, maybe he has a pick or he has no picks. So he's been taking care of the football.
3 last week.
Correct.
Right.
So I've been impressed by that.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have a strong conviction. I'd love to hear from people. 800-636-1067. If I had to vote in the binary choice, which is the poll, as backup or long-term starter, I would say starter. Like, I think he's going to be a starter in the league. I don't know if it's going to be an upper tier starter. Like right now, if you were to look at Sam Howell's season, he's been decent. He's kind of a middle-of-the-pack quarterback. You know, in some statistics, if you cherry-pick statistics like yards or touchdowns, he might be high up there.
It's early.
But he's probably, you know, if I ranked all the quarterbacks this season, he might be 20.
The question
but if you ranked him amongst young quarterbacks, he'd be right up there.
But it's so early on all these guys.
I don't know, because you might based on production this year, but I still would rather have, I would rather have C.J. Stroud. I would rather have Bryce Young. Bryce Young, he's getting a lot of, like, heat, but
that's also
he actually hasn't been that bad. Like, the team is terrible. I'm not saying he's been good. He's definitely had some bad moments, but I would not count out Bryce Young. Like, if you've seen some of his touchdowns, he's had some really
You
nice
can't
throws.
count out
Like,
the
I think
number one
over
overall
time,
pick.
like,
I'm
I
not
would
throwing-
still, my point is I would still rather have Bryce Young than Sam Howell.
I know. Well, last year you said you'd rather have Kenny Pickett. Now I don't
Yes.
think you would.
I think I still would rather have Kenny Pickett. But I'm still a Daniel Jones apologist, too. Like, that just might be my stubborn
I
nature.
would rather have Hal than Ritter. But this is what you have to ask yourself. Can Sam Howell lead you consistently to the playoffs? That's what you have to. Because if you're going to have a long-term quarterback, that's what you're aiming for, right? Just think about Kirk Cousins, how long his career's been, how the numbers he's put up. He doesn't. How many playoff wins does he have?
I think one.
I know, but that's
Maybe two.
Matt Stafford for years
I know.
putting up huge
I know,
numbers.
but it's
he
just
finally got Super Bowl with a different team. So, but that's my question.
But Kirk Cousins is good enough. It just hasn't worked out.
that's
Kirk
how hard it
Cousins-
is.
I know.
That's how hard
But
it
Kirk
is.
1
Cousins
and
is good
4.
enough, obviously, to win. Kirk Cousins can win a Super Bowl. I got news for people. He
he
can win a Super Bowl. The stars have to align. He has to have other people play well around him.
It's just very hard. And if you're going to have a long-term quarterback, if you think Hal's your 10-year guy, do you think that he's good enough to get you to the playoffs more often than not?
There's
Because
a-
that's what you want.
But like with Stafford and Cousins, there are a lot of other circumstances. So his career record in the playoffs is 1 and 4. Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. How many
But
years?
he's actually had a couple of good games in the playoffs that they happen to lose.
I agree.
Kirk Cousins is good enough to win a Super Bowl. I got news for you.
Okay.
I mean,
but
maybe
he's
I-
probably going to be on his third team next year. So
That's fine. I mean, it
he's
just
been on
sometimes
his
doesn't happen.
right.
Dan
That's how
Marino
hard it is, and
was
he's putting
good
up
enough-
35 touchdowns a year.
I know. Dan Marino was good enough to win a Super Bowl, obviously.
So if you had to
It just
bet,
didn't
Jason, you got to vote on the poll at Junks Radio. It's two choices. This is not, like I said, I don't feel a strong conviction,
Well, I have
but it's
two answers.
starter or backup.
I have two answers
Okay.
because I don't know who's going to be the coach next year. If Ron Rivera is the coach, Sam Howell's your starter. If Ron Rivera is not the coach,
I'm not saying next year. I'm saying for the career. Like if you had to guess right now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If Ron Rivera is not your coach and there's someone else, I think someone else probably brings another offense in, another quarterback.
And then you think
it's gonna
he never gets a
and then
chance
it's gonna
again
be
as a
harder.
starter?
I'm not saying he never gets a chance. It's just going to be harder for him to remain the starter if another quarterback coach comes in and says, "This is the guy I want."
You're being nuanced, but if you had to bet, is he more likely to be a Kirk Cousins, a long-term starter in the league, or a Colt McCoy who is a backup who started from times, but he's a backup?
I would say he's not going to be a Kirk Cousins.
So he's
not
more
going to be
likely
a guy who's
career backup.
How many years has Cousins played?
Oh, probably
8
10?
or 9? I don't know.
I don't see.
More than that.
I don't see Howell being a 10-year starter in the league.
Mm-hmm. Well, that would be a huge outlier if that happened.
Yeah.
I'm not even willing to go that far.
I mean, Kirk
but
Cousins.
I'm willing to say, put it this way.
He
He's
came in 2012.
He has
He came in
started
the same year as Robert.
He's played, in 16 games since 2015.
So
I
hold
mean,
on.
that's-
2015.
Think about that. That's a great career. Now, not postseason wise, but that's a great career.
What's an incredible career?
So it's 9 years as a starter right now for Kirk Cousins.
Hold on. Here's what I do know about Sam Howell. He's going to have a 10-year career in the league.
Oh yeah, I'm not
He
debating
is,
that.
and
he could be a starter.
The fifth round narrative. He's going to have a 10-year plus career in this league.
Yeah,
Whether
but
it's a
so
starter
did-
or a backup, I don't know.
But so did Chase Daniel.
But most guys
Chase
don't.
Daniel
That's an
played-
outlier too.
14 seasons.
That's an outlier.
Tyrod
backup.
Taylor has been in the league for probably 10
Yeah.
years.
Those are outliers. He's already proven he's going to be in the league for
No,
10
the
years.
question you ask yourself is he going to be a 10-year starter for this team?
Well, that's being very specific.
rare.
Yeah,
Most guys don't start 10 years for one team.
but a lot of people think he's a long-term starter for this team.
Well, he's only played 7 games.
Yeah, it's
but I
very
think
early.
what I've seen so far, there's so many good
He
qualities.
hasn't lost the job. I agree.
There's so many good qualities that I would, and if you tweak this one, which I think is very tweakable, he gets rid of the ball a little quicker 1 or 2 times per game, and gets a better O-line around him.
Mm-hmm.
Build a better O-line around him. Do you think Mark Rippon was super mobile the year he only was sacked 9 times? Of course not. He had an
That said-
incredible line around him.
That said, he has some advantages that a lot of the other young quarterbacks don't have.
Yeah.
He has really good receivers.
Who?
Sam Howell.
Oh, he's got good
Well,
receivers.
he's got one really good one.
You'd rather be
The other one really hasn't
you would
proven
rather
much.
be under center for the Commanders in terms of a chance of success than the Carolina Panthers.
Well, it's for receivers. I don't know about their O-line. I know nothing about their O-line.
I mean,
I know nothing.
generally speaking, those guys who are drafted really high, the reason why they're drafted high is they're on terrible teams.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't expect them to have some terrific offensive line.
I just don't know. I know that our receivers are better than theirs. Yes, I grant you
Has
that.
Dotson struck you as a really good receiver?
I think he is.
Last year.
I think he is.
Okay, but
This
we're
year-
talking about this year.
I
Is
know,
he a
but
really
Also,
good
he's a
receiver?
number 3. I think Curtis Samuel, like it depends how you say it. I mean, Curtis Samuel's pretty good.
I still think
Okay, but
Dotson's going to be very
your
good.
I'm not
first
saying
round
they're
pick-
elite.
Your first round pick should be better than your third receiver, I think.
Probably, but Samuel's pretty talented.
Yeah, but once they're in the league, forget about the first round pick because Terry McLaurin's a third round pick.
I'm
He's a
just
number
saying,
1.
but if you look around the league, the first round picks at receiver they're starting to put up numbers really early.
I know.
if
It's
not their
been a
rookie year.
disappointing second year. There's no doubt. But I still believe in Dotson.
Okay.
I still do.
I was just
I don't think
questioning
he's
how
gonna,
he described
I don't
him.
know that Dotson's necessarily going to be ever an 80 catch guy because Terry's going to be, if there's going to be a guy
He's their guy,
that's
right.
the guy.
Yeah.
But I think he could be a 50 to 60 catch guy. I think that's the realm that Dotson should be in. It's not going to be in it this year, it doesn't look like.
The only thing that I question about Howell for this year is if he continues to – I'm surprised he's played all the games as much as he's been sacked, okay, first of all. Because you see around the league how many guys, how many different quarterbacks have started games. That's number one. Number two, if he puts up a year where he throws, I don't know, 20 touchdowns, but gets sacked a bunch, and a new coach comes in and goes, we like Michael Penix, or we like Bo Nix,
Sure.
or Shedeur Sanders, or someone, and they say, all right, we're going to draft a guy really high, first or second round. Well, that's the writing on the wall right there.
Of course, I don't disagree. But I don't think he's going to throw 20 interceptions.
Now, Ron won't do that.
I don't think he's going to throw 20. He might. I don't think he's going to throw 20 touchdowns. I think he's going to throw 25 or more. And we'll see.
We'll see.
He's on pace for it now.
If he
Then
right, but I'm saying, but number one on my list was he's got to play all 17 games to do that.
so far,
And if he
he's
keeps getting sacked, he's going to miss time. He's taking a lot of hits.
he has. He might surprise you, though.
Let's go to the
Tough
phones.
Kid. Tough kid.
All these guys are tough.
You think Howell's a starter, or
I
do you
think-
agree with Eric Eager, who sees him as a career backup?
Eager's making that statement, by the way, basically in a vacuum. He's saying the sack stat alone is so predictive,
It's crippling.
it's crippling. And you can't, it's very rare, if you listen to the whole interview, he's basically saying it's very rare that you claw out of that trait.
Yeah, he's a math guy. He's looking at numbers.
I'm saying if you put a better line around him, he only needs to get somewhat better at it. And then you got yourself something. Let's go to PJ in Reston. PJ, what's up, buddy? You're on with the Junks.
Hey guys, I hope these outside analysts and stuff keep doubting Sam Howell. I said from one game last year against the Dallas Cowboys that this guy is legit. And I'm not even trying to say like I'm some kind of genius. Yeah, I think I'm humbly. I'm a pretty smart guy. But it's not because of that. It's because the way the ball comes off of his hands. This analytics are great, right? But you've got to be able to equate analytics with human intelligence. And I'll explain what I mean. This talk of how, right now his flaw is he's holding the ball too long. But this idea that that's not something that he can work on and improve on, plus, like EB is saying, I love how EB's been on the Sam Howell train all year. He sees what I see, and we're both going to be proven bright, not out of arrogance, but out of accuracy. This idea that he cannot, throw the ball faster is really weird. Plus, the offensive line is going to get better. Another thing I want to say, slightly different example. When Josh Allen came, analytics all said he's never going to be that good because his accuracy is bad. That never improves. His accuracy has improved. These guys are sometimes right when they scout these guys, but they are more often than not honestly wrong. And Sam Howell, like his talent jumps off the screen. He's going to, in my opinion, I don't mind if you guys laugh at me. I think he's going to have a better career than Kirk Cousins, and I think Kirk Cousins is top 12, top 13 quarterback. He's more talented than Cousins. He throws the ball a little bit more of a pure passer, much better athlete. And also, one last thing I want to squeeze in there. I cringe when I hear people, and I love you guys, when I hear people say things like, 1-4 in the playoffs, this and that. Quarterbacks, you have to look at how they perform. They don't play defense. I look at baseball. Jake, if we were to say Jake DeGrom is 8 and 10, nobody would ever
we
give him
got
a
it. We
Cy
got
Young.
it. There's more nuance and context that you have to look at. By the way, Josh Allen leads the league in completion percentage this year. There are other factors, though. Factors of like the type of passes you're throwing. That's why they look at analytics like air yards and stuff like that. But he definitely has improved. That was kind of the knock against Josh Allen, and he's improved in the accuracy department. And maybe Sam Howell can improve. The only thing I'll say is some guys don't.
Sure. But my theory is, and I think I'll stand by this, he only needs to get one better himself and one better from the offensive line.
I
And
like
then
that.
you're manageable.